Welcome to a Greater You show here on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. And I'm your host, Dr. Anthony L. Gant, here for another show on the number one internet radio station in the world. So, again, we're here for another show. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Anthony L. Gant. We are the station, IntellectualRadio.com, that feed your brain. So, I'm going to do my part in helping you all feed your brain today so that you can actually put yourself in a better position to do better and live better and all those good things. So we're here for a Greater You show. For those who are new to me, I would like you to subscribe to the link below. Hit the subscribe button there on intellectualradio.com and also hit the bell so you'll be notified when we have shows available, which is Sunday through Saturday, mornings, afternoons, evenings. So a variety of shows, a lot of shows to your liking. I'm sure that you will find something that you like on many days throughout the week. Shows on relationships, shows comedy shows, have some spiritual shows, educational shows, variety shows, health shows, all type of shows. So we got a lot of good shows here that you can tune into. So before we get started, let me promote someone. That's one of the things I like doing on the show. So today we're going to promote this gentleman again, Mr. Emmett Farmer. Are you 65 and older or know someone who is in need of Medicare assistance? Mr. Emmett Farmer is a licensed life and health insurance producer and an independent insurance broker. He can be reached at 773-908-9425 or eFarmer, the numeric number 2, eFarmer2 at ameritech.net. Again, Mr. Emmett Farmer specializes in Medicare plans for seniors 65 and older. Also, if you are disabled and have Medicare, he can help you as well. He is licensed in Illinois, Texas, and in the process of being licensed in other states also. If you are 65 and older, and if you will become 65 within the next 6 to 12 months, contact Mr. Emmett Farmer to learn more about your available options. For more information, again, contact Mr. Emmett Farmer at 773-908-9425. That's 773-908-9425. Or you can email at eFarmer2, EFARMER, the numeric number 2 at ameritech.net. eFarmer2 at ameritech.net. You will also get a free consultation by mentioning that you have heard about Mr. Emmett Farmer and his business here on a Greater You show on Intellectual Radio and IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gant, here. So make sure you get in contact with him to find out, because a lot of things change. So you want to be on top of those things because you never know what's going to happen. So you want to kind of get that in order. If you know someone who is in that position, you want to help them get that thing in order too. So here we are, another series. We started a new series today. And for those people that's new, every time we start a series, it's based on a book that I have actually written in regards to that series. And every week we talk more about that series as we move along. So this series title is How to Build Healthy Self-Esteem. And self-esteem is very important that, we all have it, but we need to know how to build it so it can be healthy. And if you don't understand what the importance and the impact your self-esteem make on you, you can make some very, very bad decisions and put yourself in some very, very bad positions with some very, very bad people, right? So you want to make sure that you put yourself in a good position. So every book that I've written, and I've written 20 plus, it's something that I do or have done in life. And so I had the problem, even though I write on the solutions that I did obtain. I'm not the only person that knows something about self-esteem or anything that I write on. However, I do know these things work because I knew where I was. So a lot of times when people see you and they meet you at a place, they think that you have always been there. And I didn't start where I am. I grew to where I am, but I didn't start here. So I was in a very bad situation and very bad place with my own self-esteem. So let me just kind of start this off. Let me kind of maybe start off with my story so you can understand that I understand where you are if you have an issue with your self-esteem. So it was a time in my life that I got to this place where I was kind of confused about whether or not that I love myself. Because things were happening in my life, and first it wasn't really negative circumstances because we had those all the time. But the way things were going in my life at that time, I was questioning whether or not that I love me or not, because I was letting some people treat me a certain way, and and I'm questioning whether or not I'm loved. Now I know my I had some family and friends that loved me, so it wasn't like I didn't know people didn't love me, and then I also had some, I knew God loved me too. However, I had asked myself this question one day: do you love you? And I had to pause and think about it. I don't know how long I thought about it, but I thought about it for a while before I was able to answer yes. Now, the problem came for me is that I had to pause and think about it. Now, I know some of you all may have always had your stuff together, always been on point, never had a downtime, always been on top, always won, all that good stuff. That's not where I was at one time in life. So here I am questioning, asking myself, do I love myself? And I had to ask myself this question. At this time, I am married. I got a wife. I got children. Matter of fact, before I had the wife, I had a wife before that. And before I had the wife, I had girlfriends and all these different things, right? And I'm not trying to say that negatively, but I have been in relationships with people all the way up to that time. And here I am asking myself, do you really love yourself or not? Now, see, that's pretty powerful because a lot of us walk through life, and if you don't love you, it's kind of hard to love others, even if you are a mama, even if you are a daddy, even if you are a sister or a brother or a husband or wife. Those things, it's still hard to do if you don't love yourself. So I'm no theologian or anything like that, so I don't want to come off that way. However, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And that's the problem. If you love yourself just a little, then that means you have to love your neighbor just a little too. You can't love your neighbor a lot when you love you a little, because you don't love, you loving your neighbor like you love yourself. Well, see, at this time in my life, again, I don't know where I am in regards to how I feel about me. Um, but then once I understood that, man, that's a problem, man. Here you a husband, you a parent, you a sibling. I mean, you're not 10 years old, you an adult, and you had to pause and ask yourself, do you love yourself? And you had to pause with the answer. Well, obviously, after that point, I started working on my self esteem because I realized I had some issues with myself. And your self esteem is really just how you feel about yourself and how you feel about yourself. And it's very apparent how you feel about yourself by how you treat yourself and how you allow people to treat you. I was one of these people, and I know I'm not alone, see, because I've been doing this for a long time in regards to helping people in their self esteem issues. I was one of those people who would let you say derogatory things about me and still hang out with you. That's the type of person I was. You can call me all type of names, and I'm gonna kind of prove you wrong that I'm better than that, right? Which is ridiculous, right? But when your self esteem is all unhealthy and everything, hey, that's the type of stuff you do, right? You kind of stay in these situations. People say something bad about you, old dirty old dog. You still stay around. People call you names and everything. Because my philosophy was, which was really unhealthy, was I don't care what you say about me. It roll off my like off my head like water does in the shower. I'm good. I'm good. And now I did act nonchalant when you said derogatory things about me. However, it was impacting my person more than I realized because now I kept staying for the abuse. I kept staying for the verbal abuse, right? The emotional abuse, the mental abuse. I stayed around people that kept doing that to me for no other reason that my self-esteem was unhealthy. So once I understood that my self-esteem was healthy, start working on my self-esteem, I started realizing my self-esteem and loving myself were one and the same. They were almost interchangeable. The more I worked on my self-esteem, the more I love myself. The more I love myself, the more I worked on my self-esteem. They kind of went together because self-esteem and loving yourself is really, like two hands, a hand and a glove. They just fit, right? And the more you love you, the healthier your self-esteem will become. Now you hear me say healthy self-esteem. Now, again, that's where I was. My self esteem was just unhealthy. So let's look at the word esteem for a minute. E means out, but that's I want to talk about esteem part. And that word esteem means high value. Like when you said, I esteem this person very highly. I esteem this person, this person that you may like or admire a whole lot. You esteem them a lot, right? So the word esteem actually means high value. So in all actuality, this is why I say healthy self-esteem, because if esteem itself is high value and we all have esteem, all of us do, how can you have low self-high value? That's almost like an oxymoron, right? You got some low self-high value. People say you got low self-esteem. Well, esteem means high value. So you got low self-high value? Nah, don't make much sense, right? So I say that why don't you esteem can be healthy or unhealthy. See, because if it's unhealthy, I can do something to get it back to health, right? So it's like almost like your physical body, and with your physical body, you can go become unhealthy, right? You can get sick and things of that nature, right? And if you get sick, you can get better in most cases, right? You can get medicine or whatever you need to do, surgeries or whatever to help you get better. But the longer you go being sick and not working on that, the sicker you'll become. And then you're getting sick in one area. Now your leg hurt. Now your arm hurt. Now your eye hurt. Now, and the longer you go, the sicker you'll become until your whole physical body is just ravaged with sickness, right? Because of the fact of in that instance, we just didn't take care of something else that was ill. Well, self-esteem is the same way. See, the longer you go not loving yourself, the longer you go neglecting yourself, the longer you go ignoring yourself, then the older you get, the sicker you'll become as a person, and you won't feel good about yourself after a while. So now you'll go around trying to find things to help you feel better as a person. If sometime as men or young men or even older men in that facet, sometimes they want to see how many women they can conquer to make them feel good about themselves, right? A woman may want to say, I'm gonna do this so I can feel good about myself. Now again, there's nothing wrong with feeling good, but sometimes we do all these external things. I'm gonna see, can I drink all the alcohol in the bottle so I can feel good about myself. I'm gonna see, can I curse everybody out so I can feel good about myself. Whatever it may be, it's all these usually is negative behavior that we do to try to feel good about the fact that we don't feel good about ourselves, and not realizing that it's a self-esteem issue that we have going on because we don't talk to anybody, right? We just kind of go through life and people say, hey, just get over that, because we don't know what happened in your life to impact your self-esteem and make you feel bad about yourself. You could have been a young girl, and when you're young, you were, we just call you skinny. You had no breast, no booty, so the boys didn't like you, right? So, but you always been small, right? You always been. Oh, maybe you were really, really big, and they said, "Oh, she cute, she just big," right? So we don't know what impacted your life at 16, 18, 25, 31 last week. We don't know. And since these things impact our lives, it impacts our self-esteem, and mean it impacts how we feel about ourselves. Now, here's the reality. We all do some stuff that's not smart. I got a whole bag, couple of bag boxes, whole trunk full of stuff I've done that's not smart. I mean, from young man to older man, I've done a whole lot of stupid stuff, right? And I'm no different than anybody else, right? Now, some of this stupid stuff you might be embarrassed about, like I cannot believe I did that at 29. I cannot believe I did that yesterday, right? Because you don't feel good about what you done, right? And so since we never go out and talk, that's why you always hear me say on the show, if you need some help, get you some help, right? Find you some help, find you a book, find you a counselor, find you a therapist, find you someone that can help you sort out some of these issues that you have, because the issues that you have are impacting your life in a negative way. And if you never solve these issues that you have, or resolve these issues, heal these issues, or any of those things, then your life is going to be impacted negatively from the present well into the future. And this is why people get to a place where they can't live with themselves. Like they just can't tolerate it anymore because they're walking around with this person they don't feel good about. Because you can't leave this person you don't feel good about at home and then go somewhere else and think you're going to feel good. You got to bring that same person you don't feel good about right along with you everywhere you go. So doesn't it make sense, since you got to take you everywhere you go all the time, doesn't it make sense to just love that person that you with every day, all the time? Because of the fact you can't let that person go somewhere else. So here's the thing. If we want to actually get better as people, we need to understand that our self-esteem means something. I have to look at myself in high value. Now, keep this in mind. Just because you love yourself some more and work on your self-esteem, that does not mean everybody else gonna love you, right? See, I've been there before. Not only did I told you my story about how I start, how what got me into self-esteem and working better, is because of the fact that I know that this works. Not only when I started figuring out, I started seeing other people with self-esteem issues, and then I started saying, man, I thought I was the only person that was asking themselves on the planet, do you love you? But I found out a whole lot of people don't tell themselves they love themselves. Or, you catch them on a bad day or a good day, they say, I love me because I bought me a new outfit. Well, that don't really necessarily mean you bought, you love you because you bought a new outfit. Because I know a whole lot of people buy clothes and don't love themselves. right? So that's not saying you love yourself because you bought your new outfit. You just like to shop. Maybe that might be your thing, right? But that doesn't mean you love yourself just because you bought some clothes or a car or what anything like that. So, what I did find out is that not only do you start loving yourself, it doesn't stop people from neglecting you. See, because at one time I'm like, why nobody want me? Why nobody want me? You know, doing all my crying and everything. Feeling sorry for myself. Nobody want me. She loved me. Oh man, why she leave me? They all left me, right? That was my story, right? Because I didn't feel good about myself. Maybe I'm too tall. Maybe I'm too short. Maybe I'm too dark, too light. Maybe because I'm from the city. Maybe because I, live on this part of the city. I had all these reasons for why people didn't want to be with me, right? So, because I had to emphasize, because my self esteem is weak, right? I had to find something to help validate my self esteem being weak or unhealthy. So, I needed these people, them leaving me validates that I'm a bad guy. So, I don't feel good about that guy. So, what ends up happening is that once I start loving myself, I start realizing that I can still love me even if people don't want to be with me. I can still love me even if they don't want to be friends with me anymore. I can still love me even if they don't want to call me anymore. I can still love me even if they don't want to hang out with me anymore. Right? I can still love me. Now that was a big thing for me 20 plus years ago to achieve that place. Right? Again, I know some of you all never had that issue with how you feel about yourself. Okay, this is just for those people that have issues with how they feel about themselves. Maybe they gained more weight than they wanted to. Maybe they lost weight. Maybe their hair not as long as it used to be. All these different things, right? Oh man, I got some number face, right? All these different things. I walk with a limp now. Maybe I'm not useful, right? All these things that happens to make us not feel good about ourselves. So this is why your self-esteem is so important. It helps you feel better about you if you work on it being healthy. So here's a challenge I have for you since we're here on the show. Obviously, when we start a new series, here's a question I ask first, and then I'll give you a challenge. When was the last time you told you that you love you? Now, when I do this in workshops and seminars and trainings and everything, and again, I thought I was the only guy that did this, right? But I found out a whole lot of people need a whole lot of help. And when I did that, and some people would tell me, I never told myself I love you. I think I told myself once, maybe about 5 years ago, maybe 2 years. Wait, maybe 3 years ago, right? And people are quick to say God loves me, which is true. But very few people say I love me because here's one problem we have. Some people try to convince you that it's vain to love yourself. Now, again, I'm no theologian or anything like that, but if God can take the time to love me, then I must not be that bad. So I guess I can love me too. Now, see, somebody may say, well, see, loving yourself is vain. Well, God love me. I can love me too. I'm just going to follow what he does. Right? Again, I'm no theologian. I know different people got their different religions and different beliefs. However, that's what worked for me. So I started loving me, but I didn't look at it as vain. See, and some people look at it as vain to love yourself. And see, those same people are the same people where if you listen to them, will have you in some abusive relationships with yourself and with other people, will have you in some neglectful relationships with yourself and with other people, and have you in some stupid relationships with yourself and with other people. This is how people end up staying in abusive relationships for 5, 10, 15 years because they listen to people like that. It's wrong to love yourself. You need to stay involved with that. You need to stay in that circle, stay with those people. And then these people are being abused mentally, emotionally, physically, in all type of ways, right? Financially. Any way you think of it, they're being abused spiritually. All because they don't love themselves and they haven't taken the time to love themselves and they're afraid to tell themselves they love themselves every day. So here's something for you. After I got involved with my self esteem, and for about over 20 something years, uh, I make it a practice every day to tell me I love me. Now, I have some people in my life that love me. My children, they love me. They think I'm a pretty good guy, right? However, I don't see my children every day. So I don't hear them tell me they love me every day, right? Because they older kids now, they living their own lives, right? So I know that I'm with me every day. So I tell myself every day, I love me. Now that may sound a little vain to somebody, but I know every day I need to hear it at least one time, even if it comes from myself. Because I may not hear that from everybody else. I've been told that somebody have told me before I hate you. And that cut me like a knife. How you gonna hate me? Me? Not Anthony. Can't. You can't hate me. Right? But it cut me like a knife because the same person told me they love me. See, the same person said, I love you. Then weeks, months later, I hate you. What? How you hate a guy like me? Now, I know some people may hate people because of their color. I know some people that's white. They hate me because I'm black. They don't even know me. But that doesn't bother you as much because the people don't know you. When someone, it could be a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter, a sister, brother, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, cousin, and when they disrespect you and say derogatory things like they can't stand you, don't want you, I wish you die, and all that stuff cut like a knife because those are the same people that got these titles in your life, and they're supposed to be special to you, right? And you think you special to them. But when you find out you deal with a lot of people with self-esteem issues, you'll find out that really most of the problems that they have, it's not really with you, it's with them. It has nothing to do with you. You just happen to be the person that's there at the time. You might be the child that's there at the time, or the parent that's there at the time, or the spouse that's there at the time, or the friend or cousin that's there at the time, and they're taking it out on you because of how they feel about themselves. Because what's in you is going to come out of you. And if you feel bad about yourself, you're going to project that and direct that to anybody that's in the vicinity where you are. So here's something for you. I said that something that worked for me and something that you probably can use yourself, and I would suggest and highly recommend that you use it yourself. Tell yourself every day you love you. Now, let me let you know this early. The first couple of days you say that you're gonna feel kind of scared saying that. You might whisper, right? You don't want nobody here, even though you live by yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna feel kind of afraid because it's something that you haven't done, and it's something that a lot of us haven't been taught. If we got enough things that mean we love us, if we get enough degrees that mean we love us, I guess that's how it's perceived by some people. But I would suggest to you, tell yourself that you love yourself because see, here's the thing: when you love you more, you put yourself in a position to love other people more too. See, when you understand that your self-esteem means high value, then you start working on your self-esteem. You will step into the lives of other people and help raise their value up about themselves so they can feel better about themselves too. Does that mean they're perfect, you perfect? No. Nobody's on the planet perfect, but that's still though, even though you're not perfect, you still can love you. Even though you're not perfect. See, that's wonderful to me. You don't have to be perfect to love you. So if you don't understand that you need love and that you want love, most of the things we do is that we're seeking love, whether it be a spouse, we're seeking love from children, parents, whatever it may be, friends. We're seeking love. It's nothing wrong with seeking love. But the problem is we end up being love starved. So now we put ourselves in all these bad situations because we just starving for attention. We're starving for love. See, we had the girl that have sex with the guy because I want him to love me. It's her words, right? The guy buy her another car because I want her to love me. So we do all this stuff because we want love from other people, but we want them to do something to us that we're not even doing ourselves. We want them to tell us that they love us. We want them to show us that they love us. But we don't even do that for ourselves. So here's a story for you. I'm a storyteller sometimes, I guess. But here's the story for you. It was this husband and wife. They went to marriage counseling. Husband's a little confused because he don't really know why he's there, like most husbands, right? Why are we here? Right? But so they go there, and so the therapist, they start talking to the therapist, and the woman is just crying, man. She's bawling. Oh man, she sounds like she's probably in the worst marriage ever. So the therapist, the marriage counselor said, "Okay, well, what's the matter? I mean, why are you crying? Well, I mean, what's the matter? It's the fact that is your husband spending all the money and gambling it away?" She said, "Oh no, no, no. We're very financially secure. I mean, oh my God, he takes care of all the bills. We are really, really in good shape." Okay, okay, that's cool. So she's steady crying. So the counselor said, "Oh, he's cheating on you, isn't he? Right?" And the lady, she's crying. He said, "No, he's so faithful. He's the most faithful man ever on the planet. Oh, he's just so faithful. I mean, he's just a great, great guy." And the therapist scratching his head. The husband looking kind of confused, like most husbands do. So, so now he said, "I know what it is. I know what it is now. He's not doing bad with the money. He's not actually cheating on you. He's faithful. I guarantee he's beating you up, isn't he?" She's still crying. No, no. He's very caring, very, very compassionate. I mean, just the best hugger, toucher in the whole wide world. So, man, the therapist looking, man, I don't know what the problem. Why are you crying so profusely? What's the problem? So she wipes her eyes a little and she says, "He never tells me that he loves me." Oh man, the husband feeling like, man, he feeling bad. I mean, he feeling, oh my God, I can't believe this. I mean, oh, you the mother of the children. Oh, God, I've been with you so many years. Oh, of course I love you. Of course I love you. I am so sorry. Yes, I love you. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I do love you, right? And so now the wife, she wipes her tears. She starts smiling and cheesing. She feel good. He said, I love you. So then the husband, he had this confused look like most husbands do. Right? So he looked at her and said, hey, when the last time you told you that you love you? She said, I haven't. He said, wait a minute, how you gonna get mad at me for doing to you what you do to you? Being a little facetious, right? That's what we do in life. Why won't they love me all like this? Love me, love me, love me. Tell me you love me. Show me you love me. Treat me like you love me. Do all these things. Then we said, when the last time you told you love me? I guess maybe about 15 years ago. So maybe I should tell you I love you every 15 years. You do that to yourself. How come I can't treat you like you treating you? Why you mad at me treating you the same way you treat yourself? See, this is when we have these self-esteem issues because we don't want to do all the work to treat ourselves better, right? We want somebody else to step in and do all the work for us, to treat us better than we can do for ourselves. So this is what shows how we have these self-esteem issues. And we have these issues and we going along through life with all these different issues, wondering what's wrong with everybody else, why everybody don't like me, how come people don't tell me they love me, how come they don't give me no big old hug when they see me. See, we go through all this stuff, but you don't never hug yourself. I know somebody would say, oh, that's kind of strange hugging yourself. Well, you haven't had a hug in 20 years. Hug yourself so at least you get you one in at least 20 years, right? Tell yourself you love you. You haven't done that in 20 years. And see, I know this is true because I've been doing this for about 20 years plus, right? Teaching people about self-esteem. And I have stood an audience. I was in a small crowd one time, about 40, 50 people, right? And I was doing a little seminar, workshop, and everything. They want me to come and talk on self-esteem. And I told people, like, hey, start telling yourself every day you love yourself, right? Start doing that. And this guy, because I knew the guy personally, this guy was probably about 70 years old at the time, right? And he said, man, after this, so he said, I don't think I ever told myself I love me. He was a husband. He had children. He was a grandfather. He was a friend. He was a brother. He was all these different things in life. And not one time, he admitted, I've never, 70 years at the time, about 70 years old at the time. He said, not one time did I tell myself that I love me all of my life. Now, wait a minute. Think about that. We got mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and husbands and wives that have never told themselves they love themselves and they 40 and they 50 and they 60 and they 70. But then they say, I love my grandbabies. I love my children. I love my spouse. But how you loving them when you don't even love you? Because doing, love your neighbor like you going to love yourself, right? Well, see, if you loving yourself once every 70 years, I mean, I can't wait 70 years for you to love me. I mean, my God, you only get about one chance to be 70. You're not going to probably get to 140. So here's the thing. If you don't start loving yourself, then you're going to put yourself around other people that are trying to take advantage of the fact that your self-esteem is very unhealthy. Now you are involved with people that don't mean you any good at all. They look at you and say, I don't mean any good to themselves. So now they're going to start taking advantage of you for whatever they think they can get out of you. Now, that's not your fault per se because they're acting wrong, but it is your fault because your self-esteem is at a place that you will accept it. And that's where I was in life. I would accept some mistreatment. Then I got out of one area where I got away from some people that may mistreat me. Then I get into another area, people mistreat me again, and not realizing that, wait a minute, get your self-esteem together. Would you talk to you like that? And the answer was no. Well, if I wouldn't talk to me and call me names like that, why is it okay for other people to call me names like that? Negative names, right? See, this is when I start building my self-esteem up for myself. Because I started saying, wait a minute, I don't treat me like that. Well, I'm not gonna be in the circle with you and be in this group with you and be around people like you. And when you talk to me like that, and I don't talk to me that way. I don't call me a dirty old dog. I don't say that about me. Now, if I said that about me and you said it, and I say, hey, I guess I need to hang out with you because you talking my language. But once I start working on myself and start loving myself more, I start putting myself in situations where people wanted to actually blame me for their self-esteem issues, right? Instead of working on their self-esteem issues. So I'm saying to you, learn how to love yourself more and more. Now, again, that would help you when I got to that place, even though I was already a father, right? It put me in a situation that I was able to be a better father, right? I was able to be a better friend, a better boyfriend. All these now, I don't know what they would say. They probably say I used to tell boyfriend. What? But in my mind, I thought I got better, right? But I became a better person because I started loving myself more. That helped me love other people that was in my space more. That helped me value them more and helped me bring more value to them. Now they may not like my value, right? Because people can say, you know what? I see you brought your value, but I don't like it, right? I don't want your value. But that didn't derail me from loving myself anymore. That didn't mean that I was for me to feel bad about me just because something didn't happen good for me with someone else. Now, that means that we already said that self-esteem is like value, right? Mean high value. So here's something for you. Excuse me. Since it's high value, you must understand that it's almost like a price. See, you and I set a price on tag on ourselves, not monetarily. I'm not saying it like that, but I'm going to use monetary numbers just so you can so I can make the point a little bit more simple, as simple as I can. So you price yourself, I price myself. We put a price on us, boom, stick it on our forehead, $50, whatever. So here's my example. So it's this guy, he's in this grocery store, walking around getting his groceries, putting the stuff in his little cart. You get up to the cashier, put his stuff on the little counter, and cashier rings up all the groceries. And as the cashier rings up all the groceries, and told him it's $43.17. So, he handed her money and she hadn't changed and everything bagged. Look at the end, bagging up stuff. I mean, this dude was doing what he do, right? So he bagging up his groceries and everything and put it in his cart. So as the guy started to proceed to out the store and going to the exit, the store manager seen him and said, "You thief! You a thief, man! You have stolen from me." So the guy looking around like, "What's going on?" Man, the store manager jumped over the counter, came running up on the dude saying, "You a thief, your mama a thief, your daddy a thief, everybody look like you a thief, everybody your height a thief, every gender look like you a thief. You just a thief, man. You came right in my store and you stolen stuff right out of my store." I mean, he was belligerent, man. This guy was talking and yelling and spitting and everything, man. This dude was like mad. He was like going off. Well, see, when someone act like that, the guy had the question, said like, man, did I steal something? Because if somebody, the way he acted, he got to be right because nobody would act like that if they were wrong, right? So the guy moved his little cart over to the side. So what he started doing, he looked under his cart because sometimes you put water at the bottom of your little cart or whatever, soda pop and everything at the bottom. And maybe I forgot to put some water down there, and maybe they didn't ring it up. But he looked down there, no, I didn't do that. So he gets start taking stuff out the bag, looking at the receipt, taking everything out the bag. You know what? Everything that was on the receipt was in the bag. Everything in the bag was on the receipt. Oh man, this dude looked fired up. Now, you coming up in my face, yelling and screaming, spitting and everything. He said, "I haven't stolen anything from you, man. I paid the exact price of everything that's in this bag. The price that was on it is the price I paid." So the little store manager, kind of settled down just a little, because I'm telling you, he going off. This dude is really going off. And said, "I know. I just thought you were gonna pay more because I'm the store manager." So the guy looked at him and said, "Man, why in the world would I pay more? If you got 99 cents on the can, why would you expect me to spend $1.99 when it said 99 cents? But I thought you'd do that because I'm the store manager." The guy said, "Listen, I didn't you didn't overpay. You want me to overpay? What you did was undercharge. If you wanted more, you should have put a higher price tag on it." Now, see, this is what we do in life. See, some of us get all belligerent. "I'm your mama. Why you don't love me? I'm your daddy. Why you don't love me? Well, I'm your husband. I'm your wife. I'm your son, daughter. I'm your dog," or whatever, right? And we act like a fool, straight up fool, stomping and screaming, throwing tantrums, all type of stuff, right? Because you don't love me. You don't love me. You trying to take something from me. And the reality is, people are only required to pay the price you have set on you. See, that person was only required to pay the $43.17. That's what it came up to. They wasn't required to pay $143.17. They were only required to pay $43.17. See, you have a price that you set on you. Like I use the example. You talk about yourself like a dirty old dog, then that's the price you set on you. So people are supposed to call you fat, skinny, tall, no hair, nappy head, all these different things, right? Because that's what you say about yourself. So they got to validate so you can keep feeling the same way you feel about yourself or feel like they feel about you, which could be negative, right? So you put the price on you. The more you love yourself, the higher the price goes. But here's what we do. Same example. Let's go back to the store. The guy, the said it was $43.17. That's what the cashier told him. So you know what? He only had $100 bill at the time. So he gave the lady $100 bill, right? The cashier. Now the responsibility of the cashier is to not only give the receipt, but give what is called change back. Meaning, when you get change back from a grocery store, anywhere it goes, it's called an overpayment, and they are required to give you the excess cash back, right? So in this example, which is about what, $57, somewhere $56.87, somewhere around there, right? So they had to give $56 back. Now here's my example. This is gonna make my point. Sometimes some people step in our lives with $100 worth of love, but we got our little price tag on us stuck on our head. I'm 43.17. And so we said, whoa, I can't handle all that love, can't handle all that love. I got to give it back to you. You must want something from me. Why you want something from me? You come with all that love. I'm not used to somebody come with all that love. You got $100 worth of love. Woo. I never seen $100 worth of love before. I'm $43.17. That's what I am. And then what we'll do, we'll push those people out of our lives, and then we'll go chase the $22 guy or lady. That's what we're going to do, to show them, look, I got $43. You only got $22. You need to be with me. And then they'll tell you the same thing. Why are you chasing me around? Don't you see I got my $22 price tag on my head? I'm not worth all your $43. Now, I know the story sounds a little silly and may sound a little simple and everything. I want you to understand that you are the person that priced you. You put the price or the value on you by how you love yourself and how you work with your self-esteem. If you don't work with your self-esteem a lot, then the price that you're going to put on you is going to keep going down, 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 and you're going to keep meeting people that can only pay $22. You're not going to meet people that can pay $100 because you're not going to let them in your life anyhow. See, then the requirement will be when this $100 person step into your life that you're going to have to get it together so you can get up to $100. You see what I'm saying? Or $1,000. So you don't want all that love because you got to do this work on yourself to get that type of love. You got to raise the standard on yourself and say how valuable you are to you so that you can have that price set on you so people can pay it. Because people are only required to pay the price that you have set on you. If you like people doing you wrong, like people, slapping you upside the head, you like people kicking you out and all that stuff, you like that stuff, trust me, you're going to keep meeting those same type of people to do the same type of stuff. Then you can say, all tall people act like this. All light-skinned people act like this. Dark-skinned people act like this. All old people, young people, because you'll keep putting yourself on the shelf at $43.17, and you're gonna meet people that can only pay $43.17. You might meet a few people that could pay more, but because you only $43.17, they think, why should I pay more? Why should I help you raise your value when you stuck on $43.17 because you love it, right? So this is how our self-esteem is so damaged by certain situations, and then we'll walk right back into other situations to validate how bad we feel about ourselves. See, all women no good. See, all of them act like that. All men no good. They all act like that. No, that's not true. For one, you don't know them all. And maybe because the price you have set on yourself is the price you're around that type of market that can only afford $43. Maybe you're not around a market that can afford $100 because you haven't done the work to be $100 person. And I'm just using, again, I'm not telling you put a price on yourself for money. I'm not saying it like that. I'm using this as an example so you can see that you have to keep pricing yourself. And here's the thing. You can never be too much. Yeah, you can start at $43.17. Now you $99. Now you got up to $200. 10 years later, you $25,000, right? You $50,000, right? And then you're going to meet people that can handle $50,000. But here's the thing. Everyone that's connected to you going to get all this extra love from you because you have built yourself up and you're worth more. See, that's why loving yourself is not wrong. That's why loving yourself is not vanity. That's why loving yourself is not selfish. Because the more you love yourself, what's in you is going to come out, and then you can love other people more. What's wrong with you being a parent and loving your children more? What's wrong with you being a spouse and loving your spouse more? What's wrong with you being a child and loving your parents more? What's wrong with being a friend and loving your friends more? Nothing. It's nothing wrong with them. Because here's the thing. You, I, we, everybody all need love. All of us. Yeah, it's good that, again, this is not taking anything away from a spiritual side. Yeah, God loves us, right? You know what? What's one thing I realized? God has never hurt me. People have. And I hurt people, right? So guess what? God has to have somebody love themselves some more so they step in their life in my life, they can help heal me. They can help me become more valuable. They can help me feel better about myself, right? That's something they can do for me. But now, obviously, it should be reciprocal. I should help other people that's in my life feel better about themselves too. It shouldn't just be one sided. Everybody helping me feel better about myself, and I'm not helping anybody else feel better about themselves unless they can do something for me. Wrong answer. That's when it's selfish. That's when your self esteem is still hurt and damaged. So you have to realize that if you don't love yourself, the reality is you hate you. Now that's pretty big. Well, whoa, 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 man. I may not love myself, but I don't hate me. Hey, listen, man, if you don't love you, you hate you, right? And see, the reason why you need to love yourself is to prevent you from hating yourself. See, because if you love yourself, you have to ask yourself, some of the things you're doing to you, if you love yourself, would you be doing that? Would you be tearing that up inside you? Would you be doing all those things to you negatively if you really loved yourself? Now that's a hard question. I mean, that's hard because now I got to change some ways. I've been doing this all my life, man. For the last 30 years, I've been doing this. Now you tell me I have to change that? Well, if you love yourself, you do. But if you don't love yourself, keep it up, keep going. But if you love yourself, then you have to make those changes. It's people going through all type of situations, right? Because see, a lot of things can, I'm using the word trigger, us to feel bad about us. Holidays show up, you don't have you a boo, right? I don't have no boo. So you don't have no boo. You can't get no Christmas gift. Can't get no Christmas hug. Can't get no Christmas kiss. Nothing, right? So you feel bad. No, nobody want me. Right? Because you don't have no boo. So what it does, it triggers you feeling like something must be wrong with me. So now you feel bad about yourself, right? You feel bad because he or she left. And maybe you moved to a new city, right? And mom and dad, you grew up there. Now you're in a new city, might be in school. And so now you don't have any friends, right? You're not one of these people to go out and make friends everywhere, right? You got to get to know you a long time, like 30 years before you want to open up and be a friend. But you don't have these friends. So now you feel lonely. So these things can trigger us to feel like something is wrong with us. Something must be wrong with me because I don't have any friends. And that doesn't necessarily mean that at all. What happens is you got to realize your self esteem is how you feel about yourself. How do you feel about you? So you may say, hey, man, I heard you say that stuff about loving yourself and all that stuff, right? Love yourself more. I heard you say that stuff, right? That's cool. But when are you going to start loving you? What are you going to tell you love you? You going to start tomorrow? Maybe you got to start at the beginning of the year. I don't know. Maybe you got to start at the beginning of the month, beginning of the week. When are you going to start telling you that you love you? See, because here's the thing. I want you to think about it. How many I love yous did you get today? Just think about it. Whether you married, single, children, no children, friends, whatever. How many people called you in the last 24 hours and you heard the words, I love you? How many? And most of us, we go the whole day and nobody tells us that. We go the whole week, nobody tells us that, the whole month. Now keep that up for 12 months, then it's the whole year, then it's the whole 5 years, and we don't even hear I love you from nobody. So if you're waiting around for people to say I love you, you may hear it once every week or once every month, once every 6 months. Wouldn't it be better if you heard at least once a day from yourself? See, because now you're treating yourself better. So now when you get in relationships with people, and people don't want to tell you they love you after 4 or 5 years, every 5 years they want to tell you they love you. You say, wait a minute, I don't do that to myself. I tell myself I love me every day. How come you can't pay the price, bro? Lady, what's going on? How come you can't pay the price I got set? See, I tell myself every day I love me, and I tell you every day I love you. So why can't you tell me every day you love me? We got a problem here because I'm paying I got a price set that you're not paying. So what type of relationship we got going on here, friend? What type of relationship we got going on here, spouse, child, parent? What type of relationship we have going on? See, and just like I used the example of the guy being belligerent at the grocery store, talking about you stolen from you, this is what we do with people that have titles. And this is how we allow people with titles to let their titles become bigger than their person. See, even though we know mama and daddy just ragged as they can be, right? But I can't do that's my mama, that's my daddy. That's just how they are. Yeah, but they didn't abuse you for 25 years, verbally and emotionally. But I got to go see them because it is Mother's Day. And then, I got to. And then when you get over there on Mother's Day, they abuse you on Mother's Day. They abuse you on Father's Day. Okay, I'll see you next week, Mama. I'll be back over again to get abused by you again, right? I know that's kind of facetious, but this is what we do. This is what we do all the time. I know that, all those people over there, they not my friends and everything. They talk about me real bad when I show up and then when I leave and before I get there. But I see y'all next Friday night and we get right over there and let them do it to us again. You too fat for that dress, right? Why you got those ugly shoes on? And I see you next Friday. Why you got that hat on? Ooh, that's an ugly hat on you. Why you wear that lipstick? That's ugly. See, this is what I see you next Friday, and we just keep going back for more abuse. You know why? Because that's my cousin. That's my first cousin. You know what? That's my sister. That's my brother. You know what? That's my uncle. He's my favorite uncle. Yeah, but he talk about you and abuse you verbally and emotionally and mentally every time you see him. Look like you're getting fat to me. Oh, you gotta hear that every time you get over there. I'll see you next Sunday so you can tell me how fat I am again. Because our self-esteem, we allow the titles that people have to be bigger and more important than the esteem, than the love that we have for ourselves. And this is why we always put ourselves in these situations with people. Again, it has nothing to do with saying that they're bad people. It's not saying you're a bad person. But when your esteem and your price on you $2, you just don't want to be around $5. You don't want to be around $50. You don't want to be around $100. So that's why you think all of those people are trying to get over on you. Somebody see you for the first time at a church or whatever. Some people just hug us, right? Whatever it is. They just like to hug. You bumping them at the grocery store, man. Your pandemic's messing them all up, right? Because they can't hug people, right? But some people just hug us, right? They're just friendly people. And the older you get, you start learning. You can sense good people, like you can sense bad people, right? When you're young, you think everybody good, right? 10 years old, everybody my friend. Everybody my friend. Because you're 10 years old, you don't know much, right? But as you get older, you start realizing you can identify, you can sense good people. It's like you might walk away from them the first time and say, man, they some good people, right? You don't know much about them, but you can sense that they're good people. Some people you can meet them and say, I don't know about them. They kind of, whoa, I don't know. And again, that doesn't mean they're bad or you bad, but they don't fit the price that you have on you. That's all it's saying. You must understand that your self-esteem is important. It's like a tree. Let's look at a tree for a moment. I got a lot of examples. I guess I need to do something with my life, right? But it's like a tree, right? And a tree, the life of the tree, for the roots all the way to the branches, goes through the tree trunk. That's what the life of the tree is. If they wanted to kill the tree, they just shoot something in the tree trunk, and at a matter of time, the tree can eventually die, right? So, see, your esteem is like the tree trunk to everything else that's spring out of you, and then everything that's going deep inside you. And so, when your esteem is damaged, it can damage your growth as a person. It can put you in a situation where you don't look at yourself very valuable. It can have you start hating you. This is when we have sometimes people start doing bad things to their body, cutting themselves up, pulling their hair out, and everything. See, that's not natural. That's not normal, right? But what happens when you don't feel good about yourself? You don't mind pulling your hair out. You don't mind cutting your skin up because you don't feel good about you anyway. See, this is stuff you end up doing. You don't mind being incapacitated or incoherent all the time. You don't mind doing that because you don't feel good about you anyway. So if you can drink your sorrows away, hey, where's the next bottle? Now, again, I'm not trying to talk about anybody that drink anything. I'm talking about these people that get drunk every day, drunk every weekend, trying to escape themselves. Those are the people I'm talking about. The ones that want to get high as a kite all the time, trying to escape themselves because they don't feel good about themselves. They don't treat themselves well. They don't. Then you get to a place they don't wash themselves up. They don't even clean. They don't do nothing to themselves. Now they looking scraggly, looking really bad. Why? Because they don't feel good about themselves. And why do that work on me when I don't feel good about me? So this is why you have to feel good about. And this is why you have to start watching who you hang around and stay away from those people that are damage your self-esteem, even if they do have titles, right? And it's hard. Now, this is one thing. It was very hard for me to because I don't want nobody to leave my life, right? Not like I'm a stalker or anything like that. But when you're in my life, I'm like, hey, we should be friends to the end, right? We should be, yeah, we should touch all over, right? But that's not how it goes. But I started letting people, the title that they had to me, become more important than the person that they were to me. So this is why I allow myself to be abused. Now again, see, people don't see that now,
right? Because they see you at a certain place. Now it's, oh, no, not you, not you. Hey, I wasn't always here. I wasn't always at this place. No, no, no. I was at another place being abused verbally and mentally and emotionally, right? People just kind of like doing me any way they want to do, right? And I'm just saying, oh, I guess it's okay. They come around, they figure it out. And see, and that's just not something that men do. Women do it. Old people, young people. You can be real pretty, real ugly. It doesn't matter who you are. Your self esteem is still important. Now, I ain't trying to call nobody ugly. Maybe said not as attractive as somebody pretty. How about that? So, but you still have to feel good about yourself regardless of those things. Because this is what happens to people, things happen in their life. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't go seek any help. They don't go seek a therapist. They're going to seek a counselor. And you say, man, I remember that person weighed about 110 pounds. Then you look up 5 years later, they weigh 220 pounds. You're like, man, I wonder what happened to them. Then you look up 5 years later, they 330. And you're like, what happened? What happened? And something happened because they stopped feeling good about themselves. Now, I'm not talking about something medical. If they had a medical issue, I'm not saying it like that. But what I'm saying is that they had a issue with themselves. Now they're eating all the time, trying to satisfy themselves. They're trying to seek a place so they can feel good. And this is why we do a lot of things that we do. Because the less you feel good about yourself, the more you're gonna go out there and try to find something to make you feel good. And we all have our things to try to make us feel good. This is why you have to work on your self-esteem and get better with your self-esteem. So I got to pretty much wrap it up. I'll wrap it up about 5 minutes. But I got one. Okay. So let me promote this guy one more time here. Let's see. Okay, Mr. Emmett Farmer, are you 65 and older or know someone who is in need of Medicare assistance? Mr. Emmett Farmer is a licensed life and health insurance producer and an independent insurance broker. He can be reached at 773-908-9425 or email efarmer2, the numeric number 2, at ameritech.net. efarmer2, ameritech.net. Mr. Emmett Farmer specializes in Medicare plans for seniors 65 and older. Also, if you are disabled and have Medicare, he can help you as well. He is also licensed in Illinois, Texas, and in the process of being licensed in many other states too. If you are 65 and older, if you will become 65 within the next 6 to 12 months, contact Mr. Emmett Farmer to learn more about your available options. For more information, again, contact Mr. Emmett Farmer, 773-908-9425. That's 773-908-9425. Or efarmer2, that's EFARMER, the numeric number 2, at ameritech.net. efarmer2 at ameritech.net. You also get a free consultation by mentioning that you heard about Mr. Farmer and his business here on a Greater You Show on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station with the host, Dr. Anthony L. Gant. And obviously, if you want me to promote your business on the show, get with me. You can contact me at Full of Purpose Media at gmail.com, fullofpurposemedia at gmail.com. And also, if you want to purchase the book, you can do so as well. So let's do a recap to close this thing out. So you got to love yourself. So starting today, start telling yourself you love yourself again. I know it's going to be a little odd for some people. So, you can whisper it. If you live with somebody, you wait till you get away from them and then you can whisper it to yourself. I love me, right? Right. And eventually, the more you do it, the more you're going to be comfortable at telling yourself you love yourself. You're going to start working on you. You're going to start feeling better about yourself because you realize that you go through this process. Don't say anything to anybody. Just watch how few I love yous you get throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. You'll find some people you tell them that you love them, they can't even say it back. It's so hard for them to say, I like you a whole lot. Right? They can't even say I love you. Now, if it's hard for them to say I love you, and you the parent or the child or the spouse or the friend or whatever it may be, do you know it's even more difficult for them to say that to themselves? That's why you got to work on yourself and love yourself more. And hopefully you'll help them love and help those people more as well. So again, what I want you to know, again, you can purchase the book Full of Purpose Media at gmail.com. I will sign it as well. And we could talk about, if you need some help, get you some help, whatever it may be, find you some help. If you want to contact me and maybe I can point you to some people that can help you. That's fine too. So keep in mind that great people aren't like you are born great. However, you must work on yourself to become a greater you. And I'll see you next time.